Hello, this is Connor from KwikModel. In this video, I'm going to be going over some advanced room shapes, including rooms that go up 2 floors and rooms that are at a sort of arbitrary angle, both of which you can see right here with this section. So I have this kind of screenshotted over here and turned into a floor plan. So first of all, if you have a room that is exactly at 45 degrees, most rooms, if you press the T key, will change them onto a 45-degree kind of angle here. And it changes the scale on these because of how each point needs to be able to line up with each other on the walls here. So this, in math sense, is like it multiplies everything by the square root of 2, which is uh, important for like 45-degree triangles. But I won't get too much into the math on that. But that's for very simple shapes. Just press the T key. It'll work for stuff like vaulted ceilings. Put them on 45-degree angles as well. Yeah, this isn't used as much anymore, but it's nice if if you're working with really simple shapes. If you have any issues with this, just let us know. Okay, but the more advanced stuff that we have now that handles most cases are these stretchy quads. You can basically do the exact same thing. If you press T, this will rotate 45 degrees as well, and Tab will rotate 90 degrees. And you can bring this to a more kind of rectangular shape here just by dragging these corners around. Sorry, I have this kind of scaled a bit weird on my computer here. I'd have to see if I can bring it down a little bit. No, okay. Well, that's all right. Let's see. So you have different control types here at the top left. And for regular rooms, you'll use these scale by handles to do these like red and blue scaling handles. And then you can drag by handles as well. And then there's drag no handles. Stretchy rooms are a little bit different. If you do scale by handles, you'll get these extra kind of handles here. Drag by handles will just drag the entire room. And then no handles will just let you grab these without anything popping up on top of them. So these are the corners of the stretchy room. Something you can try first is pressing the T key, kind of bringing it to a rectangular shape. Let's do a top-down 2D view for simplicity here. And we'll just kind of make a rectangle from here. Okay. And then if you, we can use this sort of as a base and then kind of copy and paste this around. And then when I press the T key, this will bring it onto a 45 degree. As you can see, that's not really perfect for what we need. So I can just kind of grab these handles and drag them to the position I want them to be at. And generally, you don't even have to like start with a rectangle. This is just kind of nice if you want to have a rectangle to get everything based off of. Usually you can just, let's place a stretchy quad here. Place a stretchy quad. There's also a stretchy triangle, which is literally just 3 points instead of 4. Doesn't change really much anything. But you can just grab each of these corners and drag them to where you want to be. Okay, and that's how you can fill up kind of arbitrary spaces if you want. I think in this case the stairs want to be actually a rectangle here. I'll drag this corner up to kind of match its position. And same rules apply as always. If things aren't lining up with the floor plan, you can always just go to drag floor plan, or like drag and rotate, and kind of drag to the correct snapping levels here, or the snapping positions. Sorry, double click there. Okay. Now let's go back to our rooms. Okay. And now something that we mentioned before is that these are a bit taller. So there's multiple ways to handle this. First of all, if you actually want the room to be on the first level and just be taller, you can easily just kind of click on the top here. Let's change to scale by handles. And you can just scale up the room. And this will all still be considered on the first floor. And then when you place stuff on the second floor, an easy way to kind of tell them apart is you can just change the opacities. So you see this one's more opaque than the one below. So it's more transparent. Or sorry, the one above is more transparent than the ones below. You can kind of slide these around. Yeah, see which one is changing. But let's say you wanted the room to look like this, where there's no raised floor between them, but you technically want this space to be considered the second floor for whatever reason. There's a lot of different ways people design these. It's mainly based on where you want your registers to be grouped into different rooms. So let's say we wanted this to be kind of placed above here. All you really need to do is have your floor level be set to 0, which is automatically done in most ceilings. So let's say you had a regular kind of rectangular room, because at the moment we don't have stretchy ceilings per se, but I'll show you how to get to that. So let's say we place a regular room. Oops, let's go back down to the first floor. All you have to do is turn off edit rooms on the second floor here. Okay, so we placed a regular room on the first floor, and now we want a ceiling box above it, but we want the ceiling to be on floor 2. So what we do is you click on this create open to below ceiling box, and all that does is when you place the ceiling, it's going to be placed at floor level. So when I go to rectangle ceiling here, and I turn on edit rooms on the second floor, and I place it, you'll see this, it's dotted to show it's a rectangle. And the only real difference with the rectangle ceiling is it doesn't have a raised floor. Like if I change the raised floor height, it's not going to do anything here. So yeah, now there's no actual floor between them. It'll still show like a very thin line here between them in this space, but that's just to show that they're different rooms. But there's no actual, like if you look at the, let me turn this a little bit, the floors here. So if I highlighted this floor, you'll see this floor has like a depth to it, where this is just sort of the, well actually this floor doesn't even exist because it's an interior space. But yeah, you can see like rooms that aren't ceilings will have this sort of depth between them. And the cutout parts are just where they're touching. So that's like showing this is the area of like the, sorry, KwikModel doesn't really like looking up, but this is like the area that's hanging over the other rooms here. Okay. I'm trying to think what else there. Oh, so some people are asking, so two things real quick. Drag that back down. I'm not sure how that happened actually. This is a bug which I will fix in the next version, but I guess this gives you a good chance to show that you can drag this vertically like any other room. Okay. All right, so let's say now I wanted to place a stretchy box over this other one here, so I can do it at any angle I want. But also I'm like, oh, I don't want this, raised floor between them. Well, you can pretty much just set the raised floor to 0, and it's about the same thing as a ceiling. So all I have to do is I'll make sure that floor plan 2 is on. I'll copy this one and oops, copy, and then make sure I'm above, and then paste it. And then I'll turn on this just so it's kind of easier to drag around. Okay. I accidentally grabbed this little square here. So these squares drag this whole side around, and they get kind of smaller once you start dragging because it's like, oh, I probably don't actually want to touch that. But anyways, you can just undo, and it will go back to the original shape it was at. I could just repaste it. I'm going to delete this triangle because it's kind of where we want to place it. So Control Alt click, paste the room, put it right on top of the other one. You can see from the top down view, they're right on top of each other. Okay. If you want to focus on the room, if I hold Shift and I press plus, it will look at that side of the specific room. I'm going to turn off 2D for now. I don't know what if I say plus? Sorry, if I hold Shift and I click on one of these directions, it'll look on one of the sides of the room. Okay, so all I have to do, grab this, I can drag it down. There is a hard limit on how far a floor can go down, like the bottom of a room. So if you want this to be lower, you need to go into your floor plans and you can change the height here, or this base floor height. If I set this to 0, everything moves down a bit. I would recommend you just set this to 1 and just grab the one below and raise its floor height up. So let's do scale by handles. We can just drag this up until it's right under the other one, and then click on this other one and set its floor height to 0. And then if I just, what is this? 1 second. Change that to, there we go. Okay. So this is basically the same thing. It doesn't have a raised floor, and so it's treated as there's no kind of floor in between them here. Turn down the camera speed, maybe that'll help. There you go. Okay. And the final thing, even though it's not really part of this design here, is if you would like to have one of your rooms here sort of, oh, sorry, one other thing. No, I think that actually covers it. The only difference I wanted to kind of cover from before was if I'm on floor 1, if I place a minute below, oh, sorry. Turn that off for non-ceilings. Okay, so if I'm on floor 1 and then I place a ceiling box and I don't have this selected, even though this looks like it's on floor 2, it's still on floor 1 because ceiling boxes will place about a room's height above their floor. So if I do this sliding, you'll see these are all on floor 1, as opposed to if I did open to below ceiling boxes. Oh, it's saying it doesn't want those to be on floor 1 just because it would be confusing. So I just turn on edit rooms here. You'll see it's on the same level, but it's placing on the 2nd floor. Okay. Just kind of wanted to make sure that was clear. If you want to raise individual points on a stretchy box, you can. And so here's what I was talking about when I was saying like you wanted sort of a vaulted ceiling that's turned at a non-45 degree angle. You can just grab these two here, and that'll create your sort of vaulted ceiling on top. And you can do it at any angle you want, of course, because you can just drag one of these points around. All right, I think that covers everything. If anything was on here was confusing, just comment and let me know. Obviously, I can make a more polished video later on. This is just to sort of cover some questions that people have been asking lately. All right, thank you.